She texted me at 5 p.m. on the dot, "Can't make it tonight." I knew exactly where she was when she sent it, so I just said, "Sure." That night, I ordered her favorite, ridiculously expensive dinner for two, delivered straight to her ex's apartment, and paid for it in my name. Her name is Maya. We were together for a little over 2 years, living in my condo for most of that time. To everyone on the outside, we were the perfect couple. But on the inside, I always felt like I was on probation. Maya had this thing about her ex, Derek. He wasn't just an ex. He was a character in the ongoing story of her life, the one who got away but was now her best friend. I'm not an idiot. I told her from the beginning that I wasn't okay with it. We had the fight, the big one. She cried, accused me of being insecure and controlling, and swore on everything holy that their relationship was purely platonic. She said I had to trust her. Like a fool, I gave in, but on one condition. I wanted complete transparency. No secret phone calls, no "we just ran into each other" nonsense. She agreed. For a while, it seemed to work. He was a ghost in the background. But in the last few months, the ghost started to feel a lot more solid. She'd be on her phone, smiling at a text, and when I'd ask who it was, she'd say, "Just my mom," a little too quickly. She started having emergencies that required her to cancel our plans at the last minute. A friend's car broke down. A coworker needed help with a project. The excuses were always just believable enough to make me feel like a jerk for doubting them. The final nail in the coffin of my trust came about a month ago. We have one of those shared family accounts for our phones, something we set up for the data plan. I was on the website paying the bill, and I noticed an option to manage location settings for the devices on the account. On a whim, I turned on location sharing for her phone just to see. I told myself it was for emergencies, but I knew deep down I was looking for a lie. I didn't have to look for long. The very next week, she told me she was going to a late-night yoga class. I checked the location. She was at a wine bar on the other side of town. The next time, she was having a girls' night at her friend Sarah's place. The little dot on the map told me she was in a neighborhood 10 miles away from Sarah's, in a condo complex where I knew Derek lived. I didn't say anything. I just watched, collected the data, and felt a cold, hard knot tightening in my stomach. She wasn't just lying. She was doing it effortlessly. I was just the guy who paid the bills and kept her life comfortable while she test drove her old one. Last night was our anniversary. Not the date we met, but the date we moved in together. I had made reservations weeks in advance at a high-end sushi restaurant, the kind of place you have to book a month out. It was her favorite. She had been talking about it all week. At 5 p.m., just as I was getting ready to leave work, my phone buzzed. It was her. "Hey, so sorry, my boss just dropped a huge deadline on me. I'm going to be stuck at the office all night. Can't make it tonight? We'll celebrate this weekend, I promise." I opened the location app. The little blue dot that represented her was not at her office building. It was sitting right on top of Derek's condo, and it had been there since she'd left for work that morning. The lie was so blatant, so disrespectful, that I didn't even feel angry. I just felt a profound, chilling clarity. This was it. The end. But it wasn't going to be a screaming match. It was going to be quiet, precise, and unforgettable. I texted her back one word: "Sure." I went home to my empty condo. I sat on the couch for a long time, just thinking. I thought about the 2 years I had invested, the trust I had given, the future I had thought we were building. And I thought about how to end it. I could have just packed her bags and left them by the door. But that wasn't enough. She needed to be exposed. She needed to be caught in the act, not by me, but by her own choices. I picked up my phone and opened the food delivery app. I found the sushi restaurant, the one we were supposed to go to. I ordered their most expensive omakase platter for two. It came with premium sake. The total was obscene, well over $300. I put in the delivery address, Derek's condo. I knew the exact address and unit number from my quiet research. Then, in the delivery instructions, I added a note: "Please make sure the recipient knows this is from Ben. It's for our anniversary." I put my name, Ben, on the order and paid for it with our joint credit card, the one I knew she got notifications for. I sat back and waited. I imagined the scene. The doorbell rings. She opens it, expecting Derek's takeout. Instead, she finds a delivery guy holding a giant elaborate bag of the best sushi in the city. She's confused. Then the delivery guy reads the name off the bag. My name. The look on her face when she realized what I had done, that I knew where she was, that I had just paid for her and her ex-boyfriend's romantic anniversary dinner. That was the revenge. It wasn't loud. It was a quiet, perfectly aimed shot that would detonate her entire world. About 45 minutes later, my phone started to explode. First, a notification from the credit card app confirming the charge. Then, the calls started. First from her. I ignored it. Then from a number I didn't recognize. I ignored that too. Then a text from her. How could you? I didn't reply. Another text. You're a psycho. Are you stalking me? I still didn't reply. Then, the final, desperate barrage. We need to talk. Please answer the phone. It's not what you think. I just turned my phone on silent. I knew she'd be home eventually. The quiet condo, once a symbol of our life together, now felt like a fortress. My fortress. And she was about to find out that she was no longer welcome inside. She showed up around 11 p.m. I watched on my doorbell camera as she fumbled with her key, her hands shaking. She must have known what was coming. The door opened and she stood there, looking at me sitting on the couch. We need to talk, she said. No, we don't, I said calmly. I think the sushi said everything that needed to be said. You had no right, she screamed. You embarrassed me in front of Derek. He thinks you're a crazy, jealous monster. Does he? I asked. Or does he finally realize that the woman he's sleeping with has a live-in boyfriend who just bought them dinner? I'm sure that was an interesting conversation for you two. Her face crumpled. The anger was just a cover for her panic. It was a mistake, she whimpered, the tears starting to flow. I was confused. Derek and I, we have history. I was going to tell you. No, you weren't, I said, standing up. You were going to keep lying, keep living your double life, and keep using my home and my money as your safety net. That's over. Your things are in the spare room. They're not packed. I'm not doing that for you. You have until noon tomorrow to get every single item that belongs to you out of this condo. If it's still here, at 12:01, it's going in the dumpster. She just stared at me, her mouth hanging open. You can't just kick me out. I live here. No, you don't, I said. Your name isn't on the lease. You've been a guest here for 2 years, and you have officially overstayed your welcome. The next morning was a tense, miserable circus. She didn't have anywhere to go, so she had called her parents. They showed up around 10 a.m., and they were not happy. Her father, a big, imposing man who had always been friendly to me, looked at me with pure disdain. Her mother immediately started in on me. I cannot believe you would treat our daughter this way, she said. After everything she's done for you, turning this sterile apartment into a home. I just looked at her. With all due respect, your daughter has been lying to me and cheating on me with her ex-boyfriend for months. I just bought them a $300 anniversary dinner at his apartment last night. You should be more concerned about her choices than my reaction to them. That shut them up for a minute. They clearly hadn't gotten the full story from Maya, just the version where I was the villain. They helped her pack in a tense, angry silence. As they were loading the last box into their car, Maya's father walked up to me. You'll regret this, son, he said. She's the best thing that ever happened to you. I just shook my head. No, sir. Getting rid of her is. After they were gone, the first thing I did was go through every account I had. I closed our joint credit card. I removed her as an authorized user on my others. I changed every password to every account we had ever shared. Then I went to the bank and cleaned out our joint savings account, which was mostly my money anyway, and moved it into a new, private account. The silence that followed was a relief, but I knew it was just the calm before the storm. The storm arrived 2 days later, not from Maya, but from Derek. He showed up at my condo unannounced on a Sunday afternoon. I saw him on the doorbell camera before he even buzzed. He looked furious. I let him stew on my doorstep for a minute before I answered. We need to talk, he said, trying to push past me into my home. I blocked the doorway. No, we don't. You and I have nothing to talk about, I told him. You blew up my life, man, he said, his voice shaking with anger. You think that was funny? Sending that dinner? Do you have any idea what you've done? I have a pretty good idea of what Maya did, I shot back. And it seems like you were a part of it. That's not my problem. Not your problem, he scoffed. I have a girlfriend. A serious, live-in girlfriend of 3 years. Her name is Jessica. And guess what? She was at my apartment when your little anniversary gift showed up. She saw the note. She saw everything. I'll admit, I hadn't seen that coming. I thought Derek was just a single guy playing the field. The idea that he was in his own long-term relationship made Maya's actions even more despicable. So you're both cheaters, I said. Again, sounds like a you problem. This is your fault, he insisted, getting more agitated. Maya told me you two were basically over, that you were just roommates and she was moving out. She said you were a controlling jerk. If you hadn't sent that dinner, I could have handled it. But you put me on blast. Jessica left me. She took everything. So yeah, this is your problem now. He took a step closer. You're going to fix this. You're going to call Jessica and explain that you're the crazy ex. I just laughed. The audacity was as incredible. Let me get this straight. You and my ex-girlfriend were cheating on both me and your girlfriend. I exposed it, and now you want me to lie to your ex to cover your tracks? Get off my property. I started to close the door, but he put his hand out to stop it. You're going to regret this, he threatened. I didn't say a word. I just pulled out my phone and made sure he could see that I was recording him. His hand dropped from the door, and the tough guy act melted away. He just stood there for a second, deflated, then turned and stalked off. The next phase of Maya's attack was financial. A few days later, I got a fraud alert from my bank. It was for a card I had completely forgotten about, an old department store card that we had opened together to buy a couch. I was the primary account holder, but she had a card. She had tried to buy over $2,000 worth of gift cards online. The bank system flagged the unusual activity and declined it. I spent an hour on the phone with the fraud department, explaining the situation, closing the account, and filing a report. It was just another piece of evidence in my growing file against her. Then came the smear campaign, just as I expected. But this time, it had a new twist. It wasn't just me being portrayed as the crazy, jealous ex. Derek, in an attempt to win back his own girlfriend, had apparently joined forces with Maya. The story they were telling was that I was a violent stalker who had been harassing them both for months, and that the sushi delivery was just the latest in a long line of unhinged acts. It might have worked, if not for an unexpected email I received a week later. The sender was Jessica, Derek's ex-girlfriend. She said she had gotten my email address from a mutual acquaintance who had heard the rumors and thought I deserved to know the truth. She wanted to meet. We met for coffee the next day. She was a smart, no-nonsense woman who was clearly heartbroken but not broken. She had a story to tell, and she had receipts. She showed me texts from Derek going back months, where he complained about Maya being a needy psycho but said he couldn't get rid of her. She showed me other texts from Maya to Derek, where Maya talked about her plan to get a nice settlement from me when she finally left, and how she was just waiting for the right time. It was all there, in black and white. A calculated, premeditated plan to use me, bleed me dry, and then move on. Jessica had been doing her own digging since she left Derek, and she had uncovered the whole rotten scheme. He's a coward and a liar, she said, her voice steady. But she is something else entirely. She's a predator. I don't want her to get away with this. If you need me to, I will sign a sworn affidavit. I will testify in court. I want her to face the consequences for what she's done to both of us. Armed with this new ammunition, I was ready for Maya's final move. It came in the form of a letter from a lawyer. It was full of baseless accusations, demanding financial support, claiming emotional distress, and threatening to sue for a portion of my assets. My lawyer's response was swift and brutal. It not only refuted all of her claims, citing the fact that she was never on the lease, but it also included a few attachments. Exhibit A was a transcript of the recording of Derek threatening me on my doorstep. Exhibit B was the bank's report on her attempted credit card fraud. And Exhibit C was a signed, notarized affidavit from Jessica, complete with the most damning text messages from Maya, outlining her plan to extort me. The letter concluded by stating that if Maya did not immediately retract all of her claims and cease all contact, my client would be filing a multi-pronged lawsuit for harassment, defamation, and conspiracy to commit fraud, and that we would be seeking full legal costs. We never heard from her lawyer again. It's been 6 months now. The silence from Maya and her family has been absolute. I heard through the grapevine that her parents are making her pay back every cent she ever took from our joint accounts. Derek's life is a mess. Jessica, true to her word, never went back to him, and the story of his and Maya's affair made him a pariah in their social circle. Last I heard, Maya is living in a tiny apartment on the worst side of town, working a temp job and drowning in debt. She didn't just lose a boyfriend. She lost the comfortable life she took for granted, and she was exposed as the user and a fraud she truly is.